Yeah, I was counting backwards. You said March, right? Anyway, oh, it's 6 months.
Yes.
It's a big time.
Yeah. It's been good though, smooth sailing.
Oh, that's,
No complaints.
well, it changes your world for sure.
Yes.
You know,
Trying to sleep as much as I can.
I
now.
have 3 adult kids and 4 grandkids, you
Oh
know,
wow, so you're busy.
so it's interesting. Dave, you can start recording. Thank you. Good evening and welcome to the Committee of Adjustments, or as you're looking at
Recording
me.
in progress.
There we go. Welcome to the Committee of Adjustments. It is November 21st at 6:36 in the evening. And if you're looking at me, yes, I came in from the North Pole. Mr. Secretary, could you read the land acknowledgement?
Through you, Mr. Chair, the town of Innisfil acknowledges that Innisfil is situated on treaty land that is steeped in rich Indigenous history. The town also acknowledges that this land is the traditional territories of the First Peoples of Turtle Island. It is shared between the Anishinaabe peoples of Beausoleil First Nation, Chippewas of Rama First Nation, and Chippewas of Georgina Island First Nation, and we thank them for generations of stewardship. This meeting place is still home to many Indigenous people, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land. The town acknowledges the forced sacrifices that are the foundation of Canadian society today. We are dedicated to honoring Indigenous history and culture and committed to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation and respect with all First Nation, Métis, and Inuit.
Thank you. And again, welcome to the Committee of Adjustment. This is a hybrid meeting where we are meeting in person at the Town Hall and offering members of the public or applicants who are unable to attend in person to utilize Zoom or telephone to come before the committee. Members of the committee tonight in attendance is to my left is Sarah Odenshire, the vice chairperson. To my right is Marnie Adams. To her right is John Raimondi, and via Zoom joining us from far away, Mr. Bill Van Berkel. And my name is Rod Hicks, and I'm the chairperson tonight. We ask that everyone attending tonight's, including myself, put your electronic devices on silent. The committee will follow the agenda as noted. To view the agenda, please visit the town's website and access the Committee of Adjustment page, and there you'll be able to see current and previous applications. All applicants and members of the public who wish to address the committee via phone or Zoom will be placed on mute until called upon. You will be able to hear all conversations taking place. For applicants and members, members of the public attending in person or via phone or Zoom and wish to speak to a specific application will be called to the podium by the chair and order the agenda and proceedings. All comments will be addressed to the chairperson. We would ask that members of the public who wish to speak to a specific application restrict their comments to the specific details of the application being heard and have not been previously expressed by another member of the public. Once the public discussion is complete, the committee will close that portion and open discussions with the applicant. Once complete, the committee will render a decision. Could I have a motion to approve the agenda? Marnie, second. Sarah, all in favor? Sorry. Okay, John? Yeah? Oh, I thought it was you, okay. Motion to approve past minutes that were sent out today from our last meeting. Could I have a motion to approve minutes? Sarah, second. John, all in favor? It's moved. Sorry, Bill, that was you. I forgot to look at the screen. Where did that other voice come from? Does any member need to disclose a pecuniary interest with the applications before us? John? You turn your mic on. It is A044 2024.
Yes, I do. A044 2022 St. John's Road.
Great, so during that application, John will just push his chair back from the desk and won't participate in the conversations. Okay, thank you. Mr. Secretary, how was notice provided for the applications before us?
Through you, Mr. Chair, in compliance with Ontario regulations, the notice of hearing was circulated to property owners within a 60-meter radius of the subject properties, and signs were posted on the subject properties on or before November 7, 2024. In addition, all application information, including the notice, key map, and application drawings were made available on the town website.
Great, thank you. First application we're hearing tonight is A041-2024, known as 14 Clover Hill Crescent. Derek Parker, are you here tonight?
No, we're here in his
Yeah.
Okay, you can come up to the podium. And when you come up, you can identify yourself and
I'm Doug Thompson, the contractor building the ADU unit.
okay.
And I'll be living in it?
Yeah.
Yes.
We don't need you right now, but we need the contractor. You're working as the agent, are you?
Yes.
Okay, and can you just say the name of your business for the records?
Doug Thompson Contracting.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Secretary, can you read out the application? Any comments?
Through you, Mr. Chair, the applicant is proposing to construct an accessory dwelling unit with an approximate footprint of 84.7 square meters. The applicant is seeking relief from Section 3.5J of the zoning bylaw, which permits a maximum ADU footprint of 50 square meters if located in the rear yard. Planning recommends approval with conditions. Building have comments. In-services and engineering have no comments, and 5 public comments were received.
Thank you. Are you in receipt of the comments that the town have submitted?
Yes.
Okay, do you have anything to add to them?
No, I think we're good so far. We're just going to carry on with what you guys are suggesting.
Okay. And Mr. Secretary, we don't have anybody formally speaking before the committee, just the comments that we received, which are online. Okay, committee members, do you have any questions on this ADU? I'm sorry, Bill, go ahead. I forget that you're sitting on the screen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm of the opinion that, and I've looked at all the comments that have been given, that that it's not really a minor variance. I mean, they're asking for almost 35 square meters more than what is allowed. I mean, I don't have a problem giving some, but, 30, I think here, let me look at my comments here. They're asking for 84.7 square meters, which is like way more than minor as far as I'm concerned. It's almost a whole house. And I have a little bit of a problem with that. And I can understand, some of the comments from the people in behind, and but they're not happy with that. I mean, I have no problem giving them another 10 square meters, but 30 some square meters, I'm not happy about that. Not in somebody's backyard.
Okay. Tomas?
Through you, Mr. Chair, just to clarify, the footprint includes a porch, just for everyone's,
Includes the porch?
includes a porch, yeah.
What size is the porch?
Yeah,
You probably asked the applicant.
The porch is approximately 6 feet by 20 feet.
126 by
6 by 120?
6 by 20.
Oh, it's 6 by 20, sorry.
120 square feet.
120, yeah. That's 120 square feet. I mean,
Right.
that's still a lot of house there.
We have our engineer calculating here for us.
That's another 11 square feet.
11 square meters. Okay. Yeah. Okay, any other comments from committee members? I'll be honest with you, why we're struggling with it, because as you're aware, ADUs are not allowed in Cookstown. And I know that they went before the town and asked for an allotment, and they got it for one sewer thing. For the committee's opinion, we're concerned about, there will be ADUs allowed in the future, but first the town has to build a bigger sewage treatment plant, and they're just in the environmental stages, so we're years away from that
I
happening.
understand that.
And our concern is the size of the unit, the public interest in this. There's a lot, as you're aware. And the fact that for some reason that night you got council on a good night that they said, okay, to Cookstown, and it's the only one.
Well, they suggested it for us. They
Okay.
did all, we didn't even ask for it. They suggested it for us, so,
Did they? Okay.
yeah,
Well, it caused a bit of a problem for us as we're looking at it to see what we're comfortable with.
I see.
And because will be the only one in Cookstown, we are concerned about the size.
Okay,
And-
so if I may,
Yes?
what we're trying to do, she has a condo right now that is approximately 1,200, 1,300 square feet. And we're just trying to, because she's still young and able-bodied and stuff, we're just trying to give her some space that she can still function on her own and still have people over, and it'll only be one bedroom, but she could still have somebody over and not be sitting beside each other on a couch, and that's the only thing in there. If it's 500 square feet, that's really small for somebody to be.
Yeah, unfortunately, you've got the location where you're at, and it's the only one.
I understand.
And there is a lot of community involvement on this project, and this committee takes that into account when we look at it. So that is our concern. Is there any other questions?
Just
John?
one other question.
Go ahead, Bill.
The town, you went to the town and the town suggested that you'd build 80 somewhat square meters or just an ADU?
No, they suggested that we could get the plumbing or the sewage allotment.
Or an ADU? Thank you,
for
yeah.
an ADU.
That's all they suggested. They'll give you the sewage allotment.
Yes,
that's-
no, for sure.
You got the diamond out of
But
this.
without that, we have nothing.
Right.
Right? So,
Right.
once we had that, then we found out we had to apply for these things.
Sure. John, you had a question?
Obviously, in the application, we don't see any floor plan.
Still?
Yeah.
It was sent
There's no floor
in.
plan.
It's been sent in like 3 times.
It's just the elevation.
It's just elevation, so we can't really see if there's an opportunity for a reduction.
रख में तो नहीं है कंपनी में खुद बात करके देख के बोल सकता हूँ मैं
Hang on, just hang on one second.
Someone.
Okay. There we go. It's called Progress Technology.
When we were here last time, a month ago or 6 weeks ago, whatever it was, that same issue, and right away, the next day, they sent it in to you guys.
Yeah, all we have is the elevation. We don't, excuse me, have any interior design, just the elevation. And I believe, were you proposing 2 bedrooms in it?
No.
No?
It's 1 bedroom
Okay,
with an open concept kitchen, living room to try and keep it open. We were gonna go cathedral ceiling to make it feel a little bit bigger. The height issue, we may not be able to do the cathedral ceiling.
I believe you're okay, Tamaj, the height you're okay with? If just, because you don't know what I'm thinking right now, but do they have leeway to go a little more height there before they exceed the standard?
So the maximum permitted height would be, I believe it's 6 meters, but it also can't exceed the current house
That's
height.
what I'm asking.
So I don't know offhand how high.
Do you know what the height of the current house is?
It's on the drawings that we sent in. I physically took the measurement, but I did it like 2 months ago. I can't remember.
Is that a 2-story or is bungalow?
It's a bungalow.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, John?
The peak is only at 16 feet, so I imagine it would be closer, lower.
So what I was thinking, if we reduce the size, but we allowed you to get a little bit of height in there, so it gives that open feeling, as opposed to an 8-foot ceiling, that's where I was asking the question.
I see.
Trying to help you.
No, I get it.
Before you hear what we-
The peak issue, though, is halfway up the roof. Like,
Yeah.
it's not the total peak, it's at
Yeah.
2/3 of the way
Yeah.
up the roof, right? The 6
Right.
meters?
2/3, I think.
2/3 up, okay.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we have an expert here who can do a lot of calculations for us, but we don't have that information before us, so We really do try to work with everybody and see if we can make everybody happy. Does anybody want to make a motion for this, for or against, or would you like me to do it? Which I seldom do. Oh, go ahead, sir.
Through you, Mr. Chair, do you have any flexibility with regards to the size if we were to be flexible with our
I'm
decision?
sure, well, yeah, I can't speak, but, you know, it's better to have something than nothing, for sure, but the 50 square meters is very small. Like, if you look at that in this room, it's like, you know, to have a bathroom, a bedroom, a kitchenette, laundry, and a living room,
Pretty hard to
you
squeeze it
know,
into,
like,
yeah.
it's very tight.
Go ahead, John.
Just so that we understand the numbers in square footages, the 84 square meters is something like 900 square feet. The porch itself is 11 square meters. So what they're actually proposing for living space is only 785 square feet right this second. Which is, you know,
What is it in meter?
Even 65.
well,
So what would that be in meters one way and meters the other way? Because I'm old school, I'm still,
Well, that's why we rely on him when we
yeah.
can see it in feet and inches.
about 28 feet by 28 feet is what you're asking
what
for. Yeah.
we're proposing.
Yeah.
So if you look at 28 feet by 28 feet, that's from that wall to probably here, and from that wall to here.
I understand what you're trying to do, but let's also realize this is the only one in Cookstown. And this committee has got to look at you're exceeding the
I
bylaw,
understand.
right?
I understand.
And that's why we're trying to figure out how we can help you.
I understand that. No,
Uh,
I
And for
understand.
I think you get-
older people, you need room for a
I
wheelchair in the future,
I
et
understand,
cetera,
but
right?
we're not in favor of the size that you're proposing. So we're right now trying to grapple at ideas, how we
Okay,
can
no,
give you
I
something.
understand. But
You
we
know,
also
and maybe
need-
down the road, you know, when ADUs are a popular thing in Cookstown, that you'll be able to maybe add on to it, you know, and make it bigger, but,
The other thing is the bathroom is quite a size because we need a wheelchair accessible bathroom.
right.
Right, so the bathroom is 10 by 12, something like that. You know, that takes up almost a quarter, not maybe a little less than a quarter of the space, right?
John, do you have a comment?
Just my comment is if we're going to make a motion to lower the square footage, my recommendation to the council would be to not make the porch included in that. So whatever we thought we would give as living space, add the porch to that as a total square footage,
So in other words, the deck,
How many square meters?
11.8, so let's say 12.
what you're suggesting is the deck will not be a deciding factor on the size. We decide on a size and then and you can have the deck on top of that. Okay. Marnie? Just bear with us a minute. We're trying to do some numbers.
No, I understand.
We minus 11 from 84.
So what?
Uh,
Okay, Bill, sorry. Yeah, you can't hear us, Bill. Sorry about that.
Well, no,
we're
I can
just-
hear you.
what-
I'm just trying to elaborate on John's suggestion that we give him, you know, if we give him 10 square meters more for the house and the 12 square meters for the porch, that gives him 22 square meters.
All right.
You know, I don't know.
Marnie, go ahead.
Through the chair, this isn't really relevant, but just to put it in some perspective, my daughter lived in a 700 square foot, 2-bedroom wartime house. And it isn't big, but it's not that small. There was 2 bedrooms, a bathroom, a kitchen, a living room. I understand that you need more space for the bathroom for wheelchair accessibility. But 700 square feet in a house is not crazy small. Anyway,
Okay, so if we delineate the deck for now, and we're talking about how many square meters we'll allow over the 50, if we were to be generous and say, okay, well, we'll go over that, what are we comfortable with? Or would someone like to do a motion on it?
if you're asking what that number looks like, it's 73, not 84. So allowing 73 square meters,
That would include the porch.
that would include the porch instead of 84.
Right. Right.
So the only other issue I have, we already have complete set of working drawings, like permit drawings and stuff. If we're gonna change this drastically, then we're gonna have to get a new set of drawings. You know, it's.
Well, we could deny the applicant too, so.
I
So
understand, but,
we're trying to work with you. We're not comfortable with what's proposed. That's why you're here before us.
Okay.
So we're trying to come up with, that's why this is more than usual conversation.
Okay.
And we're trying to help you out. So what is the number then? Less the deck? You said 73?
Through you, Mr. Chair, 72.9 square meters is ADU without the porch. 72.9 square meters.
Okay, hang on. How did we come up with that? We were talking about 50. That's the bylaw. And now we're at 72 from,
72.9 square meters is proposed ADU space footprint without the porch.
right, so if you add the porch on, that brings it up to,
That brings it up to 84.7.
what if we didn't put a roof over the porch? It was just a deck.
Tamaj, the question the builder just asked, if there wasn't a roof over the deck, does that make a difference when planning's looking at it?
It would. There's separate provisions for decks, so we would have to look at the design and confirm. But there's definitely separate provisions, and Brendan can add to that.
Brendan?
Thank you.
Welcome.
Through the chair, thank you. So obviously been listening to the conversation. I think if committee, which surely you could, makes a revised recommendation with the reduction in the overall size, it wouldn't include the porch. And ultimately, after committee of adjustment, their end goal is to pull building permits, and there will be a zoning review as part of that. So I want to make sure that whatever happens tonight, that they would be able to pull building permits based on the as-of-right size that's permitted tonight, if that's the case.
Well,
But
as we've done in the past, as we're doing the motion, I'll make sure you're comfortable with it, because as it goes down the trail.
Right,
We want to make sure it's clear.
But the way the discussion's evolving, if it wasn't to include the porch, then they wouldn't be able to have the roof over the porch. It'd have to be some type of slab-on grade. Like, they could still have, obviously, steps or whatever they need, but it wouldn't be roofed. And by doing so, it's basically what's committee comfortable in the actual square footage or square meters of the livable space. So if that revised recommendation is made and approved tonight, that's what it means, is that the porch itself wouldn't have a roof over it, and they would be subject to the space of whatever's approved.
So we could just have an entrance deck there, right, rather than a roof. It was just for comfortability, right? To be able to sit out on your porch in the evening or whatever, but we could certainly
Bill?
remove the roof of that and just have it a deck.
Bill, you have a comment?
Well, yeah, I'm comfortable with 60 square feet like 60 square meters of living space. And if they want to put a slab on grade or deck later on that's not roofed, I don't have a problem with that. That still gives them quite a bit of living space. And they're not that, right now it's 83 square meters. And if we take the porch off of that, less 12, that gives them about 71. So we're not that far off.
So
You're-
that would
you're
result
recommending
in
60?
about 150 square feet less than what's proposed.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Brendan?
Plus no deck.
Hang on a minute, Bill.
The livable space would end up being 149 square feet less than what the proposal came in for, just to put some numbers to it.
By taking the deck off, it's just 149 square feet less.
Well, that's 60 square meters.
Yeah,
Bill's suggesting, it's, because the bylaw is 50 square meters, he's suggesting 60 square meters. And in the discussion, there would be no covered deck.
Right.
Which affects the overall square footage, or
Gotcha.
meters. Sorry?
Just making sure I have my numbers right. So when you take, in terms of what's before you today, before any revised recommendations, you have 256 square feet is what the variance is for. So if you go to 60, I think it's basically subtracting 150 square feet from the proposal. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Through you, Mr. Chair, 60 square meters would be 646 square feet.
Is there any way we could possibly?
With no deck.
With no deck.
65 with no deck, just give us a little more room for the bathroom and the laundry?
I'm okay with that. Brendan, since we've got you here tonight, it's nice to have you here, and the manager of planning. How would we word that the deck's not to be included, so building doesn't get caught up on it? Do we just put in the motion that whatever size we determine, the deck is excluded from the overall footage of the building?
Through you, Mr. Chair, you can just propose the square footage you want, and it would be up to them if they want to add the deck or not, which they probably won't add the deck. So just propose the actual footprint.
Okay.
So then, at the same time, we could still apply for a deck. She needs something to get in, right? So we definitely need
Yeah,
something.
you can work with the building department on
Yeah.
that?
And that's not to you guys.
That's a separate process, yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, we're just meeting with we're
no,
just
I
the ones that
understand.
deal with the setbacks.
Yeah, no,
Right.
I understand.
Yeah. Okay, does anybody want to do a motion? Are we comfortable with 60, 65?
I am lost. Is the house the same size?
Not including the porch?
It's 110 square feet less if they go 65.
Yeah, I think that's good. Does someone want to do that?
So,
Okay.
Could I just have one more second?
Sure, go ahead.
I guess the only other issue that I struggle with is because I'm doing the numbers, right? You know, this lady's gonna spend $200,000 to $300,000 and have something, you know, much smaller than she's wishing. It's tough from my end. I understand the issues you guys deal with, and I understand we got the plumbing allotment and stuff like that, so that was great. I just, you know, I always try to work with my clients and give them the most that I can and stuff, right? That's my only.
Well, maybe you can be generous like we are.
It's an added cost too. Now I have to have more drawings done. So
I understand that. It's unfortunately the town put you in the position by giving you something that's not allowed in Cookstown.
yeah.
So here we are, and you're the one.
Okay, we would appreciate the 65 square meters.
Okay, committee members, would anybody like to make a motion?
Just
Marnie?
one last question through
Go
you,
ahead.
Mr. Chair. Do we have the floor plans that we can see? Were they sent to you? Because it's difficult to make a decision when we can't or don't see the floor plan drawings when we're approving something or denying something based on footprint area.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I only have the updated elevations and sections.
Okay, then we'll make the decision based on.
Would you be able to get the drawings or pull up the drawings?
We're
'Cause
going
we've
to,
applied for everything.
we're going to go, the information, there's a cutoff for when the information comes to us, and we deal with what we
I
got.
understand that, but we had the same thing a month or 6 weeks ago, and we sent the drawings in. They physically brought them in to the town. Because we had the same issue, we had to have it postponed because you guys didn't have the drawings the last time.
Right.
We don't have them right now, so.
Yeah, so we got to move ahead. You want to
And I think we should make a recommendation rather than defer it again.
Yep. Marnie, did you want to make it? I'll go ahead. I'll make a motion. There we go, because we got to move ahead. Motion is to permit 65 square meters. The deck is not included in the size, it's just the size of the dwelling. Brendan, do I need to say anything specific to that, or will that cover?
Through you, Mr. Chair, just make sure it's the footprint.
It's the footprint of the building.
Correct.
65 square meters, excluding the deck at this time. So the motion is to allow 65 square meters with no deck involved at this time. Do I have a
I'll
seconder?
second that. I'll second it.
All in favor? There's only one in favor. It's defeated. Sorry, I asked if everybody was in favor. Only Marnie put her hand up.
My
I
motion
put
is
mine
to
up.
defer. Yeah,
not
through
gonna-
you, Mr. Chair, my motion is to defer the application until we actually see floor plan drawings, because I can't make a motion based on these drawings. I need to see floor plans.
Okay, the motion is to defer. Do we have a seconder on that? John? All in favor? Are you three in favor?
Yeah. Can we get a motion?
Three, yeah, but I say all in favor, so three of you, there's two of us are not against it, so we are going to defer you again. Motion is defer, and we need the floor plans. We don't have them, sorry.
I don't know what to say. We brought them in.
Okay. We should have. Okay, next application is B 021-2023, 8 William Drive. Do we have Dan and Bonnie Tang, Dan Stone and Bonnie Tang?
Bonnie should be, there she is, for the homeowners.
Ah, okay. Welcome to the Committee of Adjustments. Mr. Secretary, can you read the application and any comments associated?
Through you, Mr. Chair, the applicant is proposing to sever a portion of the subject lands for the purpose of creating a new residential lot. Planning recommends approval with conditions. Building have comments and conditions. In-services have comments and conditions. Engineering have comments. And public comments in support of the application were received.
Great. Bonnie, are you in receipt of the comments from the town?
Through the chair, yes, we are in receipt of the comments.
Okay. Do you have anything to add to it?
Through the chair, I did have a short presentation prepared. If you would like me to go through that, then I would be available to do that.
Sure. Let's see it.
Perfect, thank you. Could we just move to the next slide? So this air photograph is just to show context of the location of the subject property in comparison to the immediate neighborhood. As you can see, the subject property is located within an existing established neighborhood and consists of single detached dwellings. Next slide, please. Committee may remember that this application was heard back in June of this year. Since then, Council has approved the heritage application permit to demolish the original dwelling on the proposed lot to be retained in September of this year. The proposed to be severed lot continues to contain the existing residential dwelling that was built in 2018. Next slide, please. This figure shows the proposed severance, which divides the existing property into roughly equal areas. The land to be retained are proposed to be 743 square meters, and the lands to be severed are proposed to be 731 square meters. Next slide, please. As mentioned earlier, the existing residential dwelling and driveway that was constructed in 2018 is located on this parcel. In addition, the severed parcel meets all applicable zoning provisions and does not require any variances. Next slide, please. The retained parcel is currently vacant as the original heritage home has been demolished through a demolition permit provided by council as mentioned earlier. This slide also shows a potential maximum building envelope based on the permissions of the zoning bylaw. It is important to note that the property owners are not proposing to construct the dwelling that is shown on the slide, as it is to purely show that this parcel can comfortably fit a dwelling on the lot without requiring any variances. Next slide, please. In conclusion, the severance application meets the applicable policies of the provincial planning statement, as well as county and town policies. The proposed severance results in one infill residential lot that is compatible with existing lots in the neighborhood and meets the applicable policies for intensification in a built-up area. In addition, we have also received 10 letters of support from surrounding neighbors. We have reviewed the staff report and understand that they are recommending approval with standard conditions for new lots and the requirement of obtaining 1 unit of water and sewer allocation from council. We would request that the consent application be approved conditionally as outlined in the staff report. The property owners are also in attendance at the meeting in person should there be any specific questions for them. Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you. Mr. Secretary, I don't believe we have anybody speaking for or against this tonight. Thank you. Committee members, do you have any questions of the agent? See none. Could I have a motion for or against the application before us? Marnie?
Through the chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve application B021-2023 as applied for, subject to conditions.
Motion is to approve with conditions. Do I have a seconder?
Yep.
John? Sorry. John? John, seconded by John. All in favor? Moved. You're approved.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good night. Next application, A013-2024, known as 3544 Crescent Harvard Road. Do we have Christine Loft with us online? Welcome to the Committee of Adjustments.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Mr. Secretary, can you read the details, the application and comments?
Through you, Mr. Chair, the applicant is proposing to construct a new dwelling with an approximate proposed height of 9.6 meters. The applicant is seeking relief from Table 4.2A of the zoning bylaw, which permits a maximum building height of 9 meters for structures in R1 zones. Planning recommends approval with conditions. Building have comments. Engineering and services have no comments.
Christina, are you in receipt of everything the town has written, comments-wise?
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Staff have forwarded the staff report, and we agree with the conditions. We were before you in May. We did have some work to do with the building department. We've now done that, and they are supportive with conditions, and those are my comments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Secretary, I don't believe there's anybody speaking for or against tonight. Oh, thank you. Committee members, any questions of the applicant, the agent? See none, could I have a motion for or against the application for 3544 Crescent Harvard? Bill, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I recommend that we approve application 013-2024, 3544 Crescent Harvard Road, as long as all the conditions are met.
Motion to approve with conditions. I have a seconder. John, all in favor? You're approved. Christine?
Thank you. Good.
You're
Thank
welcome. Have a good night. Next application is A043-2024, known as 1063 Garden Avenue. Do we have the agent tonight, Valuden? Am I saying that right? Oh, we have Shams.
Good
Okay.
evening, Mr. Chair. This is Shams Sayed, the authorized agent for the property owners.
Okay, welcome to the Committee of Adjustments. Mr. Secretary, can you read the application and details, comments?
Through you, Mr. Chair, the applicant is proposing to construct a new addition with a deficient exterior side yard setback of 3.3 meters. The applicant is seeking relief from Table 4.2A of the zoning bylaw, which requires a minimum exterior side yard setback of 6 meters. Planning recommends approval with conditions. In Power have comments. Building, in Services, and Engineering have no comments.
Thank you. Are you, Shams, are you in receipt of what the town has written?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we are in receipt of the comments.
Do you have anything to add to the application?
It's a pretty straightforward application, and we do meet the 4 tests of the Planning Act. I do not have any further comments, but I would be glad to answer any questions if there are any.
Great, thank you. And I don't believe we have anybody speaking for or against this application. Mr. Secretary, I just wanted to ask you, when I was there, I was thinking about the lighting triangle. What is it? Because I couldn't remember the footage that's each way, because that is on a corner. I know it's not, I know it's fine, but I couldn't remember the numbers on the lighting triangle. Sorry, Sham, it's just something, when I was looking at that property, there's a triangle they use for, as you know, for visuals, you know, and I couldn't remember it when we were there looking at that property. If it's not readily available, we can talk about it later. Yeah.
I think it's 20 by 20 or something, 20 each way.
Yeah, don't worry about it too much. Committee members, do you have any questions? John?
Just a quick question. Like the reason why the setback, like a question for the planning staff, the reason why the setback is 6 meters is because it's a corner lot? Is that correct? Tamaj is still looking about that. The reason why that setback is so long is because it's a corner lot, right?
Correct, it's exterior.
Yeah. So, yeah. So that's why it's 6 meters instead of like the other side, which is 1.57.
Exactly.
Got it.
Okay, any other questions from the committee? Can I have a motion for or against the application? Marnie, you're the star tonight.
Through the chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve application A043-2024 pertaining to 1063 Garden Avenue, to approve it as applied for, subject to the conditions.
Motion to approve with conditions attached to the application. Do I have a seconder?
Seconded.
Do I have a seconder? No. Sorry, John had his arm up before, Bill.
Okay.
He jumped in. All in favor? It's moved. Shams, you're approved.
Thank you very much. Have
Have a good night.
And through you, Mr. Chair, in this instance, it would be 3 meters, the daylight triangle.
It's 3 meters?
In this instance, it varies depending on the road, but in this instance, it would be 3.
So 3 meters, because I'm trying to think of the triangle.
Yeah,
3
40
meters
feet.
on each. Yeah, I couldn't remember that when I was looking at it. Okay, thank you. We don't want to hear the next application.
It's
I guess
deferred right now.
Okay. A044 2024, known as 1863 St. John's Road. Jake, come on up to the podium. Welcome to the Committee of Adjustments.
Hello.
Mr. Secretary, could you read the application? Any comments?
Through you, Mr. Chair, the applicant is proposing to construct a second driveway. The applicant is seeking relief from section 3.18.1G of the zoning bylaw, which permits a maximum of 1 driveway per residentially zoned lot. Planning recommends approval with conditions. Engineering have comments. Building and in-services have no comments.
Jake, are you in receipt of the comments from the town?
Yep.
You are? Got anything to add?
No.
Other than it'd be a lot easier to get that big trailer in your driveway? I don't know how you do it currently.
Well, we live on a highway, too.
Yes.
It doesn't help.
Anybody have any questions? Marnie?
Through the chair, in the comments, I guess there was obviously no problem with, I mean, St. John's Road is a bit of a nightmare to come out of your property onto St. John's. I could see somebody wanting a circular driveway, so you're not backing out, but you've got lots of room there to turn a car around. So there was no problem with having an extra driveway on St. John's Road.
Through you, Mr. Chair, no, there wasn't. Operations, who reviews driveways, they didn't provide any concerns, and they will still need to get the permit, the entrance permit from operations, so there will be an additional review in terms of safety.
Okay.
I have a permit. I don't know if that helps or not.
You have the permit already?
Yeah.
Do you?
I can give you the number of it if you want, but
No.
it was
Sorry.
like, it was, that I did that first, then talked to the roads guy.
Yeah, okay.
Juby, I think, Alex Juby or
All
something.
right, and there's no one speaking for or against this application. Any other questions? Nope. Can I have a motion for or against? Bill? Go ahead, Bill, I see you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to recommend that application number 044, 2024, 1863 St. John's Road be approved, as long as the conditions are met.
Motion to approve with conditions. All in favor? Marnie? No?
Oh, sorry.
Bill? You're in favor?
Yes.
And you are approved, Jake. Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Okay, see you later.
Take care. It's, just so you know, I don't know if the people, when people get their applications, Jake, just hang on a sec, do they know it's a 20-day waiting period? Is that in their package?
So that's standard. They would have to wait 20 days before actually constructing the
I
driveway.
realize we're not telling applicants that.
It's in the notice of decision.
Is it? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, so 20 days for anybody to appeal it, and then you're good to go.
I have a question, because I have a permit, like when we built the garage, we had a permit, I had to put the sticker outside the garage, but I never got anything like that for the driveway. Is that a thing?
Tamarsh?
There's no like posted permit.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'm not aware, but you could check with Alex Juby from operations. He'll let you know. Yeah, and he'll give you the details in regards to driveway.
Okay, have a good night. Next application, A048 2024, 1014 Emily Street. Do we have Tony Tersigni with us tonight, or is he on Zoom? No? Do we have a Jose Dorado here? Was he not signed in, Nick? Or Nick, there's Nick out in the audience. No, not signed in? Okay, so we don't have the applicant with us. or the agent tonight. This house is pretty simple. It's actually in my neighborhood. It's a vacant lot. It's a big lot, and they're just looking for the setback of the front yard because they want to put a pool in, et cetera, as you've seen on the plan. So we don't have any discussion. There's no one speaking for or against this application tonight.
Through you, Mr. Chair, there is a number that's associated with Tony. Tony, if you can hear us, press star 9 to unmute. Tony, press star 9. If that doesn't work, it might be star 6 to unmute. Star 6.
Okay. Committee members, you want to have any discussion on this property? Go ahead, John.
Just a quick question. Is there any reason why you calculated the 6 meters from the house and not the porch?
There's a comment in the comments about that, I think. They didn't have to go from the porch.
Okay. Not, because it's probably an extra meter and a half, I would think.
Yeah, that was my question too.
Unfortunately, the planner who wrote the report is not online, but let me see if I could find it in the comments.
Hello?
Hello. Is this Tony?
Yeah, hi.
Hi, welcome to the Committee of Adjustments.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm in my car trying to log in, so my apologies.
No problem. Tony, are you in receipt of the town's comments about your application?
I am.
Okay, do you have anything to add?
Yes.
Do you have anything to add to it?
No, I'm in agreement with the comments.
Okay. Is this house being built for are the owners moving into it, or are they selling it?
So they're moving into it.
Okay, good. Committee members, there was a question. Go ahead, Tamaj.
Through you, Mr. Chair, as per the planner's comments, regarding the proposed covered porch, staff note that as per zoning bylaw section 3.54, unenclosed porches are permitted within a 3-meter encroachment into the required front yard setback. In this case, the required front yard setback is 6 meters as per minor variance applications. According to staff calculations on the submitted drawing, the porch meets the requirement, which is roughly 1.83 meters encroachment. However, staff note that the exact setback will need to be illustrated in any future building permit application. So just to sum it up, there is the porch can extend an extra 3 meters if it's unenclosed.
Okay.
If unenclosed, right?
It isn't.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Could I have a motion for or against the application? Sarah?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'll put forth the motion to have application A048-2024 for 1014 Emily Street be approved with all listed conditions.
Motion to approve with conditions. Do I have a seconder? John? All in favor? Then you can put your hand up again, John. Okay, Tony, you're approved.
Thank you.
All right, have a good night.
Have a great night.
Thank you. Next application is A050, A051, and A052-2024, known as 1123 Stony Point Road. Do we have Jerry Lammers with us tonight?
I'm here. Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome to the Committee of Adjustments.
Thank you.
Mr. Secretary, can you read the application? Any comments?
Through you, Mr. Chair, the applicant is proposing to construct a dwelling with deficient rear yard setback, a deficient front yard setback, and a deficient lot coverage of roughly 45%. The applicant is seeking relief from Table 4.2A of the zoning bylaw. Planning recommends approval with conditions. Building have comments. The Lake Simcoe Region Conservation Authority have comments and conditions. In-services and engineering have no comments, and one public comment was received.
Thank you. Jerry, are you in receipt of the comments?
Yes,
Good. Do you have anything to add to it?
I do not.
Okay. And you've seen the people's objections to it? And
Yep.
okay. All right, committee members, hang on. We have one speaker who wants to speak tonight. Am I correct? Can we bring that, is that Jeffrey Young? Yes. Jeffrey Young here?
I'm here.
Welcome to the Committee of Adjustments.
Thank you.
Can you just state your name and address, please?
It's Jeffrey Young, address 1099 Stony Point Road, but also 1103 Stony Point Road, 1114 Stony Point Road, and 1117 Stony Point Road.
How do you live in all those homes at the same time?
I have 4 kids,
Oh,
and I'm representing my family.
okay. Thank you. Are you in your receipt of, oh yeah, sorry, go ahead. What have you got to say, sir?
I'm obviously against the rear yard variance as well as the coverage variance. I don't believe that the variances meet the 4 tests. Because first and foremost, as far as the rear yard setback is concerned, when in regards to the variance maintaining general intent, all the new builds on those lots, considering they're all unique in size, maintained the rear yard setback of the minimum setback of 6 meters. That was tested by this municipality, and we had to go to OMB and prove that. So that's in that regard, as well as coverage. I did bring a site plan. I don't know if you have that available to illustrate that the home that they're requiring setbacks on, they could achieve a minimum rear yard setback of 6 meters. As you can see, Lot 9, which was 1121 Stony Point Road, we built that home. Lot 8 is currently built. I'm sure if you went on the street, you would have seen all the new builds. As you can see, we've maintained the rear yard setback. We've maintained side yard setbacks, as well as we've maintained, and as a request by the municipality and through OMB, we had to maintain independent parking on those lots. They haven't demonstrated that on Lot 10, but as you can see, if you push the house forward, I'm not in objection to the front yard setback, but due to the fact that the lot is restricted and Lot 38, which is the road allowance, would not allow people to use the front yard as any amenity space. It could be used as passive space like landscaping, gardens of that kind of nature. They're going to require that rear yard as for their amenity area, which again, I don't believe meets the intent of the 4 tests, because where are the people going to congregate if we've reduced the rear yard amenity space? As well as reducing the rear yard amenity space, it's going to be a challenge for them to achieve proper drainage from the backyard. So that is the reasons why I am in objection to the variances, particularly the rear yard setback and the coverage, because it has been proven on other properties that they can be maintained. And lastly, I believe, and this should be pointed out to you as a committee as well as the designer of the project, I believe there's a question in regards to the information that they're presenting to you as far as the site setback dimensions. I think there's a conflict because the site plan does not actually truly reflect the registered plan survey, which the drawing that was illustrated up on the screen there is a true reflection of the actual lot widths. And as you can see, the rear yard setback, which here they're defining it as 15.24 meters, in reality is only 14.46. So I'm concerned if the committee was to approve this application, the site plan that's presented is not even reflective of the actual lot. So they could, these people could actually come back and request another variance if you know, because they're using the wrong site plan data.
Okay. Thank you. And you built those other houses, did you?
Correct.
And you're the big house at the end that you renovated and lifted?
That's me.
I look at your house from my house.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I'm just across the bay a bit.
Okay,
So.
very nice. Okay, thanks.
All right. Thank you. Jerry, your turn to come back to comments that were made.
So I'm sorry, I forget his name
Sorry,
that just spoke.
Jeffrey Young.
Jeff? Jeffrey, I'm aware that your 1 yard in particular, lot is lot 9, right beside lot 10. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. I'll answer for him because he's back in the audience.
Okay, perfect. So with that, there's a total length of 16.15 meters for that lot. If you have a setback of 5 meters from the front and 6 meters from the back, from your setbacks, that's a total of 2.15 meters to build a house.
Here, you can come up to the podium. I'm not going to allow the banter back and forth, but she's asking a question of you, so go ahead. There, he's at the microphone now.
So with a 8-meter front setback and a 6-meter setback for the back, 6 meters, gives you a total of buildable space of 2.15 meters. What I'm aware is that that building that you built was 2,500 square feet. That would equal out to 875, sorry, with 35% coverage, you're only allowed 875 square feet of that. Can you please explain to me how was it possible to build a large building when you only had 2 meters of buildable space?
Jeffrey, hang on a sec. His mic is not on. Go ahead, Jeffrey. There.
If you look at lot 9, the depth of the house is 6.78 meters, which is roughly 22 feet deep, by 9.4 meters, which is roughly 34 feet wide. So, and that design is a 2-story. You're proposing a bungalow. But you can see on lot 10, that's your footprint. It's pushed forward, and we maintain a 6-meter rear yard. And the relief at the front yard setback is what you're requesting. I think we have it at 0.42. You're requesting 0.5 or something of that nature. So if you push the house forward, it would fit. You may have to sacrifice or rework or redesign the porch, but I'm sure that's doable.
And you are aware that the house that we're proposing is smaller than the house that is actually on the lot now?
Actually, it's not. They're the same, roughly the same size. I analyzed your site plans, and in fact, I mean, let's put it this way. You're not actually improving lot 10 any more than what's sitting there right now. You've maybe increased a little bit of rear yard, great, but the people are gonna have already that house is using space that's not part of that property. They use lot 38 as their amenity space. That because the current property has no rear yard. We've improved the properties on that street so that people can have rear yards. So that's why I'm opposed to the only 3-meter rear yard that you're proposing. And I don't see how you demonstrate that you're actually providing parking on the lot, which you should have to maintain because that's part of zoning requirements. You can't park on the road allowance. That's not permitted. In theory, those cars could be towed if the people or the corporation that owns lot 38 could request those cars to be removed. Thank you.
Sorry, Bill, I don't know if you had questions there. I wasn't looking at the screen to see if your hand was up.
No,
Oh, okay,
I
thank
don't
you.
have a question right now.
Okay,
I'm listening.
Jerry, I'm just looking at the diagrams, and it's lot 10 on this diagram that we're discussing. I see 2.59 meters to the east. So is that a driveway? Mr. Young makes a good point. Where's the parking?
I will have to look at the plans. I don't have them in front of me right now, which I can bring them up. She parks on the road allowance.
That's not good.
No, that's as I understand it, and I know there's been a lot of issues at Stony Point over the years about the use of that roadway. It's a separate entity as a corporation, so the road is not hers to use as parking. I know
And the road allowance is from the 1920s.
Yeah. Sorry, Tomas, do we have something to share?
Through you, Mr. Chair, John was just asking me about proposed driveways and walkways. One of the conditions listed in the staff report was that prior to the building permit, any works outside the property line, they have to prove that they have proper owner authorization. So whoever owns that road allowance would have to authorize it before the building permit.
Do we know who owns that road allowance?
Jeffrey, is that?
Jeff, do you know?
Sorry, that's Mr. Young. That's a cooperative laneway, I believe, is it not?
Yes, that's correct. It's owned by a numbered company. There's 4 shares that control the road, and 3 of those shares are controlled by myself, my wife, and my 1 son. So any kind of approvals or requirements that would be needed for there would need to get our approval or the corporation's approval.
Do you believe that the corporation, so this front porch is built on sonotubes, it appears?
Yep.
Would the corporation be supportive of the piers being on that road allowance?
No.
No, okay.
No.
So you don't want anything on there?
No, it's a separate entity. I just believe we would just start opening up a whole can of worms, and moving forward, there'd be other.
Understood.
The majority of the older homes on the street are all non-conforming, so, we're trying to alleviate stress.
I've been on this committee for a long time, and Bill Van Berkelitz with us tonight. He's been around a long time. Stony Creek has had its issues.
Oh, trust me.
I'm aware of it.
Trust me.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think until all these, approvals come in, there's no way that we can approve it.
No, I agree, Bill, because we don't see any space, and thanks to Mr. Young for bringing that up. There is no designated parking spot.
There's no designated parking spot, and he brings up some good points about the setbacks, and I would really be worried about water drainage, because it's in a wet area back there.
Well, apparently conservation wasn't worried about it. Tamaj?
And
They don't live there.
that would be reviewed through the building permit as well.
Right. So,
But it does seem like the house does fit without the porch. Am I right about that? I'm not sure how you'd access it, but I mean, with the current design.
Really, truly, those lots are not made for bungalows.
okay, committee members. We don't have anybody else speaking for or against it. Do you have any other questions of the agent with us? And what's your feeling about a motion for this property?
I just have one more question. Jeff, you alluded to something that we might not have the correct information on. Can you just say that again? That you think that there's an
Yes,
inconsistency
correct.
between?
Yeah, I think that the site plan that's been presented to, as part of the application is not truly reflective, because if you look at the site plan, there's no bearing information on there, and due to the fact that we've built on that street, we have a full survey, topographical survey of Stony Point Road, and that's how I developed the site plan that you've seen on the screen. And that's where I determined that there's a discrepancy between what's being represented here and actual, which is what is actually on the registered plan.
Can we just bring up that site plan again?
Mr. Chair?
Yes, who's
Mr.
speaking?
Chair?
Who's speaking?
Sorry, this is Ryan from Alair Homes. I work with Jerry. I didn't know how to put my hand up. I'm sorry for just
Sorry,
in there.
you're not on my speaking list. Go ahead, Ryan. What do you have got to say?
Oh, I just wanted to just let everybody know we did have topographic surveys and surveyors on complete site plan applications. Sorry, not site plan. We had surveyors do topographics, and we have the house plotted, and it's as accurate as it could be. They found the property stakes and everything. I'd also like to point, like, so if she needs to park on her lot as well, you know, I just don't see how these setbacks make any sense, because we're looking for 8 meters to the front, 6 meters to the back. That leaves us a total of 2 meters of buildable space. So, like I said, if the lot is approximately 2,500 square feet, we're looking at only putting 875 square foot footprint on there. We've done our soil tests, and we have geotechnical engineers that have done the soil tests, and everything is suffice. We're looking to build a smaller footprint of a home that's what's currently there, and actually quite significantly. So Mr. Young is claiming otherwise. That's not the case. We're only looking for a 900 square foot home. What's sitting there now is about 1,200. So we're looking for a much smaller space. And if this application is denied, which we totally understand, we will just knock down the existing structure. We will fix the existing foundation, and we will renovate the property. So we will put up another 1,200 square foot property on the exact same footprint that's there, and no minor variances or approval would be required in order to get that. We've already got approval from Conservation Authority to build what we're looking at building. And as far as I'm concerned, we're actually having a less impact on the street than what's currently sitting there now. So I feel like.
Thank you for your comments. The concern is that there's no parking illustrated on the diagram. And that road, for all intents and purposes, is a private road. And this committee and former committees, which I've sat on, and Mr. Van Berkel has as well, there's been a lot of issues on Stony Creek. And so we're sensitive to that fact. And I do know for a fact that is a private road. So you can't encroach and say, well, I'll just park my car on the private road. It's not theirs to park on. It's theirs to access the property, but not to park on. And it's been a long-standing issue at Stony Creek. Okay, Jerry, do you have anything else? Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Jerry, you have anything else to add?
I don't believe so.
No? Committee members? Marnie?
Through the chair, I just want to clarify. So the existing old building on there is 1,330 square feet. If they tore that down, kept the foundation, can they rebuild 1,330 square feet on there?
Through you, Mr. Chair, they wouldn't need a variance as long as they're not expanding the current use, which is expanding the structure. So it's a legal non-conforming use as it stands. As long as they're not expanding that use, a variance wouldn't be required.
And as it stands now, with that building there, there's no legal place to park, even though it looks like there's a whole bunch of space, but there isn't.
I'm not sure how the parking works right now, but it's what is presented in front of us.
Sorry, I'll give you one more time.
Okay, one more time, just to advance on the point, if they decided to tear the home down and build on the existing footprint. Now, building would have to interject on that, because I can assure you that because of the fact that of building homes on that street, that foundation would not meet the building requirements, and so therefore you have to tear it out, and then you're back to square one.
Jeffrey, that's beyond the purview of the Committee of Adjustment.
I'm just saying, once it's torn down, it's gone, it's new zoning.
Sure.
Just a question to the planning staff. If they did tear out the whole foundation, are they going to get approval to build that exact footprint where it is?
So a lot of that, through you, Mr. Chair, a lot of that would depend on the building department, but from planning perspective, as long as it's the exact same footprint and they're not expanding the use or the size of the structure, then no variance would be required.
I think that's contrary to what you just said, Jeff, but just so that you know that. And the current building that's there, does it meet the 6 meter setback at the back? No.
No, it's tight against the fence.
Through you, Mr. Chair, it might actually be less. Based on the map, it's about half a meter, maybe 1.5. But
there's very little space in the back. There's a fence that runs through there.
Yeah.
Okay, committee members, we've heard the dialogue from both sides. Someone, John, your mic's on. Can we have a motion for or against this application? For or against deferral, whatever. Bill?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I think I'd like to find out, what's going to happen with the parking. Because you're right. I mean, you can't just park on the road.
No, and we don't need any more issues at Stony Point.
No.
So Bill's motion is to defer this until we see the better plan showing where parking's going to be. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Sarah, all in favor? Okay, we're good, Jerry, we're going to defer you until you can come back and show us a different elevation showing parking. Sorry, John, go ahead.
Sorry, one more comment to the applicant. I think I'd like to see a better representation of the lot and the house placed on the lot and something that looks like more to scale. I think I agree with Jeff that something looks odd on the sketch there, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so did you get that, Jerry?
So you need a better plan representing where the parking is.
Yes.
Where the parking will be.
And going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as well,
And
a
anything else?
more accurate and more dimensioned or to scale site plan with the proposed footprint on it.
Right.
Okay,
All right,
perfect.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
See you soon. Bye now.
Through you, Mr. Chair, Jerry, you can email me with details moving forward. I can answer any questions you may have.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, have a good night. Next application, A053 2024. No, we don't want to hear that one because Nick's here. Okay, A053 2024 3249, ninth line. Mr. Nick Scarrett, welcome to the house.
Good evening, everybody.
Nice to see you there.
It's great to see everybody.
Just for members of the audience, Nick used to be our secretary treasurer, so it's nice to have you back with us again.
Yeah, it's great to see everybody, your chair, committee, staff, public.
Yeah, you not get to go yet. We have to do what you used to do.
Oh, sorry.
Mr. Secretary, could you read the comments and the application details?
Through you, Mr. Chair, the applicant is proposing to use portions of the front yard for outdoor storage. The applicant is seeking relief from section 3.34B of the zoning bylaw, which prohibits outside storage in the front and exterior side yards. Planning recommends approval with conditions. Building, engineering, and in-services have no comments.
And you are in receipt of all that, Nick?
Yes.
I don't should ask you. You know the process better than all of us. Okay, you got anything to add? Go ahead.
Just a quick presentation, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Good evening, Chair, committee members, staff, the public. Nick Scare with Innovative Planning Solutions here on behalf of the owners of the property municipally known as 3249 9th Line. The purpose of this presentation is to provide a brief overview of the proposed development and the requested for minor variance to seek a decision from the Committee of Adjustment tonight. Next slide, please. The subject property outlined in red has an area of 9,832 square meters with approximately 100 square meters of frontage on the 9th line and contains an existing concrete block manufacturing use. The manufacturing use is centrally located with outdoor storage located in the rear yard for products and materials, and access is provided by 2 existing gravel driveways. The site is within close proximity to surrounding industrial commercial facilities, of which numerous uses are undertaken, including manufacturing and outdoor storage. The site is also in close proximity to an existing railway, agricultural lands, and positioned east of Highway 400. Next slide, please. This slide provides a high-level overview of the town's official plan and zoning bylaw. The lands are a designated employment area in the town's official plan and zoned IBP in the town's zoning bylaw. It is important to note that the manufacturing uses are permitted within the official plan designation, as well as associated outdoor storage. As such, the existing concrete block manufacturing operation is existing and is grandfathered into the current zoning bylaw and is looking to continue operation of this use. And the outdoor storage is also a permitted use within the IBP zone. Next slide, please. This slide provides a site plan drawing of the existing expansion of the current manufacturing use. As noted, the manufacturing operation is currently centrally located to the property with existing outdoor storage in the rear yard. The proposed expansion is to provide outdoor storage within the front yard area, and this area will be used for outdoor storage of raw materials and concrete blocks. Next slide, please. To permit the proposed development as illustrated on this image, a minor variance is requested. The requested minor variance from the zoning bylaw for outdoor storage is to be located in the front yard for raw materials and finished products. Although the zoning bylaw permits outdoor storage on these lands, it restricts the location to the rear yard. For the business to expand operations utilizing unused portions of the land, the outdoor storage in the front yard triggers a minor variance. It is important to note that the zoning bylaw also requires setbacks from property lines for outdoor storage, which this proposal adheres to. You can also see on the aerial image that the front yard area currently contains gravel area and is disturbed. The outdoor storage area in the front yard will be constructed with gravel, will ensure a stable surface for those products. Next slide, please. Oh, we just have to go back one, sorry, thank you. This image on the left shows a landscape buffering plan. Another requirement of the zoning bylaw is that the outdoor storage be screened from view from a street. To achieve this, an earth berm will be placed along the front property line, separating the outdoor storage from the front property line, and an earth berm will contain vegetative plantings together with an opaque fence along the 9th line, including gates that will be opaque to achieve further visual buffering from the street. For safety reasons, the outdoor storage on the front yard will be screened, and a gate internal to the site will provide access. Next slide, please. The next two slides provide a brief justification on the proposed minor variance in relation to the 4 tests. As the committee is very well familiar with, the 4 tests are the guiding principles set out in the Planning Act to govern minor variances as determined, and I'll briefly review for your consideration. The proposed variants meet the general intent of both the official plan and zoning bylaw through the supportive policies outlined in the official plan for functional design criteria of the zoning bylaw that supports ancillary uses such as outdoor storage related to industrial and commercial operations. The lands are designated and zoned for industrial use, including industrial manufacturing, and the proposed development will support employment use in the area. Next slide, please. The proposed variants are considered desirable and minor in nature as the proposal development aligns with town policies, guidelines seeking employment opportunities and growth in the area. The implementation of the outdoor storage is an efficient use of these lands related to the existing industrial use currently on the site, and it allows for a future expansion of a concrete block manufacturing operation and utilizing unused portion of these lands. The proposed landscape berm will create a buffer and negate the little visual impact the outdoor storage will have from the 9th line. Next slide, please. In conclusion, the application requests a minor variance in order to facilitate the development of outdoor storage in the front yard and assist expansion of operations of an existing concrete manufacturing facility. The proposed development proposes efficient use of land, resources that remain compatible with the surrounding area. The proposed development is consistent and conforms to all levels of planning policy and, in my opinion, meets the 4 tests. The property is currently under site plan control, and we are anticipating second submission of our site plan control application in the coming weeks. It's my opinion that the subject lands represent good planning, and we respectfully request the committee consider approval of this application tonight. And I would also like to thank planning staff for their time invested in this application. We've also reviewed all the comments received and have no comments. And the last slide, thank you, is if the committee has any questions, I'm more than happy to jump in. Thank you.
Great. Could you say that again? We were going to do something to you, Nick, just to welcome you back. It's been a long time.
I was ready.
Anyhow, there's no one speaking for or against this application. Committee members, do you have any questions of the agent before us? Bill, go ahead.
Yeah, storage, I hope it's mostly finished product and not the raw product, piles of gravel and whatever they need to make concrete block or the broken block storage, you know, the big piles of broken block that don't come out right. What's it going to be, Nick?
Through your, Mr. Chair, to address Member Van Berkel's question, the back storage area that's existing will probably be used for aggregate materials, while the front storage area will be used for finished products such as the block. And we'll keep it in low height restrictions to ensure that it is visually separated from the ninth line. And I'm sure that would probably be in conditions of approval or part of the site plan agreement once we get to that stage.
Thank you.
Any other questions? John?
Has there been any discussions on how high that berm will be? Just out of curiosity, really.
Great, through your worship, great question. We know that the front yard outdoor storage will be no higher than 3 meters. So we anticipate with the berming that it will be roughly a 3-meter berm plus landscaping on top.
Okay, that's a lot. And
That's quite a bit.
yeah, that's a lot. And I know that there seems to be lots of reference to this fence, but you mentioned screen, but it's not just screen. There's a full fence around this whole thing, correct?
Through your worship, through chair, worship.
Thank you. Chairs, I prefer.
Yes, the entire site for security purposes will be completely fenced, except for the fence at the front. That would be opaque chain link.
Chain link, but opaque.
Yep.
But still fenced off for security reasons. You can't just walk in there
That's right.
from the road.
Okay, any other questions? Can I have a motion for or against the application? Marnie?
Through the chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve application A053-2024, which is 3249 ninth line, as applied for, subject to conditions.
Motion to approve with conditions. Do I have a seconder?
Yep.
Bill? All in favor? You're approved.
Thank
Nice
you.
to see you, Nick.
Good seeing you too.
Come back. It's been, how many years has it been?
3, I think.
No, it's been longer than that.
I don't know.
Or it just feels like a long time with Tamaj. I don't know. Anyhow, good.
He's doing a good job.
Yeah, he is. Good to see you.
Big shoes to fill.
Good to see you. Okay, last application of the night is A054-2024, known as 1701 Corso Court. Do we have Giancarlo? Do I say that right? Giancarlo? Huh, the G is a J, Giancarlo, okay. And Melissa, come on up to the podium.
Hello, good evening.
Welcome to the Committee of Adjustments. Mr. Secretary, can you read the application and any comments?
Through you, Mr. Chair, the applicant is proposing to construct a deck which will result in a lot coverage over the permitted 40%. The applicant is seeking relief from section 4.3.3442D of the zoning bylaw, which permits maximum lot coverage of 40%. Planning recommends approval with conditions. Building, engineering, and in-services have no comments, and one public comment was received.
Are you in receipt of the town's comments and your neighbors' comments?
Yes,
Okay, do you have anything to add to it?
we would like to reply to the public comment, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
Yep.
It's you got the floor.
So in terms of their issues with it, it's understandable, number one. However, number two, it was a selling product to us in terms of from the builder when we bought the house, right? It was a walkout basement, and we don't have access to our backyard unless we go physically into the basement. We're not proposing something that is ginormous, nor will it obstruct anyone's views. It's not encroaching on their land. And so from our kitchen, for example, unfortunately, the way the houses were built, we can already see into their backyards, into their houses, and vice versa. They can see into our kitchen. And really, we're not trying to do this to encroach on anyone's privacy. We're just trying to have a barbecue with some chairs out there for our own enjoyment. That's really all we're trying to do. We're not
Right.
trying to invade anyone's privacy.
If I remember right, your backyard slopes down too,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Right. Okay. Mr. Secretary, we have the one comment, but there's no one coming online with us, okay? Committee members, do you have any questions of the applicant? And I understand, hang on, Bill, I'll get to you. I understand the residents what they say, you know, because you think, oh, this will be good, and then the builder builds what you got.
Right.
It's not your fault. The builder did it. It's their design. So unfortunately, we don't have any control over that. All we have is your deck that's before us, you know, what you want to build. So, you know, if members of the public, I understand their concerns and been there myself, but at the end of the day, it's not your fault that they built the house like that. You just want to have a deck so you can enjoy it a little more, so.
Exactly.
That's good. Sarah, we're just on the last application. We only had one comment, which you saw. And do you have any questions before I go for a motion? Nope. Okay, could I have a motion for or against this application? Oh, I thought you were doing it, John. No, go ahead. I saw you going with your finger. I thought you were going to.
I'm doing it. I'd like to make a
Oh,
motion.
sorry, hang on. I cut Bill off. Bill,
Bill
you
had a
wanted to say
question.
something. Sorry.
No, I think you said it all. I just basically the same. We've gone through these applications for the decks in different subdivisions, and I know the neighbors don't like it, but eventually they all come for that application to build a deck. So
Yeah.
I don't see anything wrong with it.
All right, thank you. Go ahead, John.
And for the record, neither do I. Just, everybody deserves to have a deck. So, I'd like to make a motion to approve application A054-2024 with all the conditions.
Motion to approve with conditions. Do I have a seconder? Sarah, all in favor? And you are approved.
Thank you.
So 20-day waiting period, and if no one goes to land tribunal to appeal it, you're good to go.
Okay,
All
and then
right.
from there, do we resubmit it?
Tamaj, I'll leave it with Tamaj. That's his,
Once the 20 days are over, you can apply for the building permit.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
all right, have a good night.
Same to you.
And Mr. Secretary, I don't believe we have any other business.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do not.
Great. Can I have a motion to end the meeting at 8:01? Marnie, Sarah, all in favor? That's it. Thank you.